In this session, we will do practice of all the grammar topics that you have learned so far. Also, we will learn about a few conjunctions such as thus, while, and the. And then we will look at the homework. And then towards the very last topic, I will try to calculate the exact number of words, that is, number of nouns and verbs that you might need to be able to say everything that happens during your day from morning 6 a.m. till evening or night 9 p.m. And if you can talk about everything that happens from during your day, then I think you are fit to talk about everything that happens in your life. That means you are able to communicate with your colleagues as well, because if you can tell me, if you can write on a piece of paper whatever happened from morning 9 a.m. till evening 6 p.m., then your meeting is also a part of that, right? Your office meeting. And if you can tell me what happened in your office in German, that means you can use those words to communicate with your colleagues also in German. So let us start. All right, so let's do this. So maybe you can tell me, how do I say this specific sentence in German? So I want to say I turn on my laptop. So to write this sentence in German, you need a subject, you need a verb, and then you need the object, that is a noun. So you need to know how to say laptop as in German. You need to say how to say to turn on something. And when we do this exercise, please understand that if you know how to say to turn on your laptop, then you can say how you can turn on anything else, right? When it comes to a machine, right? So quite often we say, turn this on, turn that on. Then you know how to say that. So how do you say I turn on my laptop? You start with the subject ish. Then for turn on, the verb is anschalten. Other one is also einschalten. I am using anschalten over here, and it is a trennbare verb. So I will the trennbar the prefix, which is separable, an goes to the last position, and at the second position you have the verb, which is conjugated for ish. Then you have the noun as an object, which is laptop. And that laptop, okay, there are different opinions on it. Some people say it is there, some people say it is thus. So if it is there, then it will be mine. If it is thus, it will be mine. And all right, having said that, so I said it can be anschalten, it can also be einschalten. Anschalten is used more colloquially. Einschalten, so if you don't know which one to use, if you don't know, if you're new to Germany and if you don't know which one is more common in your specific city in Germany where you are living, then you can go with einschalten. But I have seen that anschalten is used more frequently where I live. So I live in the region of Ruhrpott. Let's see, how do you say I enter the user ID? So here you need to know how to say user ID. I mean, you can also just say user ID as user ID in German, but it will be better if you know how to say that in German. And how do you say to enter? So here, uh, when you learn the verb to say to enter, don't use it for other situations. For example, when you enter someone's house, when you enter the office, there don't use the same verb that you will be using over here, because the context is different. So here, to enter, the verb is eingeben. If you see, ein is a separable prefix pushed to the last position just before full stop, and geben has been conjugated for it, which is gebe. Then you have the user ID, so you can say user ID or you can say Benutzer ID, and it is feminine, so the Benutzer ID. Now, if you have looked at the last two examples, so why are we doing these examples? So I told you that if you can talk about your daily life from Monday to Friday in German, then that means you don't need to learn German any further, right? And what I am doing today is that so every day most of you are spending time with me from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. In that we learn German. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take this snippet from my life and from your life and see what all we all do during 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. and also what do I do just before I start the session. So if I go to the last example, so I turn on my laptop. Okay, this is maybe not true because most of our laptops are always on. We just restart them maybe once in a month when updates are to be installed. But just telling you, let's say this is how you can start journaling your day. You can take a specific snippet from your life and see if you can write that in German. So I turn on my laptop and then I enter the user ID, and the next one is, so Benutzer ID, it's also Benutzerkennung. And if you want to guess, is it there, the, or das? So any noun which ends with the alphabets U and G, you can be very sure, almost sure, that it is the. Okay, let's look at the sentence. I enter the password. Again, you just need to know how to say the password. You can say password as it is in German, but there is a specific word and it is Passwort. So instead of D for donkey, you have T for tiger. So Passwort, and it is das Passwort, but the verb remains the same, right? Eingeben. Let's say if instead of saying I enter the password, I want to say we enter the password, then it will be wir. Ein will be at the last position, and instead of gebe, it will be geben, right? Because you have to conjugate the verb as per the subject. So another word for password is Kennwort, and this is also das. Then I open Google Chrome. How do I say open? So if you just know how to say I and open, so Google Chrome, you can just say it as Google Chrome, right? There is, you don't, I mean, I don't think there is any German word for Google Chrome. So how do you say open? You say öffnen, and öffnen for ich öffne Google Chrome. Then I open Gmail, again, it's very obvious, ich öffne Gmail. Or you can say Gmail, but I think people usually just say Gmail also when they're speaking in German. Then I enter my email ID. Again, you already know how to say to enter, so it's eingeben. How do you say email ID? You can just say email ID, or you can say email adresse, and you have to know how to say my. Okay, so here it is meine. Why meine? Because it is feminine, right? Email ID is feminine. If it was, let's say you enter my something and that happens to be masculine, it would be meinen that something. Okay, if it is neutrum, it will be mine still. And notice here the objects are in accusative case. If you are not sure when is something accusative, when is something dative, when is something nominative, there is a specific, we did this I believe a couple of sessions before. You can have it, the recording is there on the channel, you can have a look at it. If you still have questions, you can ask now. The next is I enter my password. I think we did this. Ich gebe mein Passwort ein. Of course I open my calendar. Here I mean that Google Calendar. Okay, so how you know how to say open, you just need to know how to say calendar, right? So calendar is almost the same with a few differences. So it's calendar. Okay, it's calendar. Again, if you just say calendar also in English, I don't think it's, normally people say calendar in German, but even if you say calendar as it is in German, it's still fine. But this happens to be masculine, and that's why it is meinen. Anything which ends in er, any noun which ends in er, you can be almost you cannot be always sure, but you can almost be sure that it is masculine. I click on the meeting. Okay, so you need to know how to say click. Okay, it's almost like the same, it sounds exactly like the English click, but we have to make it sound like German, so it's klicken, and there is one spelling change. So ich klicke. Meeting is Besprechung. Again, you can use another word for meeting, like meeting or Termin or whatever you want to use. I go with Besprechung. Besprechung happens to be feminine, so die Besprechung. And here to say on, you have to use auf. Now if you're wondering, okay, how do I know, is it auf or something else? So this is just there will be verbs where you have to learn the verbs along with the prepositions. Okay, so when you are learning verbs, check if you can use the verb. So you can also say ich klicke die Besprechung, it's also correct. I mean, you can say I click the meeting, but normally it's more correct to say I click on the meeting, right? So ich klicke auf die Besprechung. Now if you know how to say to click on something, you can replace this with like you click on the button, you click somewhere else, you know how to say that. So you should learn the verb klicken like this: auf etwas Akkusativ klicken. Again, you can use das Meeting. If it was das Meeting, it would be auf das Meeting. Okay, then I start the meeting. Again, you know how to say meeting. If you know how to say start, you know how to say this in German. Again, you just have to make the English word English start sound like German. So anything, normally when I say, or when someone says like there is, if you want to find what is the German what is the German verb for this English verb, and they say it sounds exactly like the English one, you just have to add en at the end. So it will be starten, and starten for ich is starter. Again, the pronunciation is different. So it is, in English we say start, it's sir, and in German we say start. Okay, so sure, something like sure of show. Okay, so whenever, and okay, how do I know this is pronunciation? Again, we discussed, these are rules. If you don't know, I think we also discussed this, I believe in 8th or 9th session, I'm not sure. Yeah, if you don't know, you can just ask me which session was it, and again, it's on the channel. So ich starte die Besprechung. I turn off my camera. Again, most of us do that in meetings, right? You turn off your camera. So again, how do you say camera? It's almost like the German one, English one, but you have to replace the C with K. That means K. And how do you say to turn off? Now you already know how to say to turn on, right? It's einschalten. And I mean, again, guys, in these sessions, I want you to not just teach German. I also want you to teach how you can learn German on your own. So whenever you, let's say when you learn the verb einschalten, it's to turn on, right? Now it should click in your brain that okay, einschalten means to turn on. Then what will mean ausschalten? Okay, so whenever you learn a verb and it's obvious that there is going to be an antonym or opposite of this specific word or verb, then you should learn that. Okay, you should have asked me at that very point, okay, what is turn off, and I would have given you the answer. So it is ausschalten. Okay, that was einschalten or einschalten. It is ausschalten. Okay, camera is the camera, so meine Kamera. Pronunciation is ka. Okay, not ka, ka. Again, if you say ka, it's still fine instead of ka. I turn on my microphone, so you know how to say turn on. It's anschalten or einschalten. How do you say microphone? Little bit spelling changes and pronunciation, so it's microphone. Okay, so ich schalte mein Mikrofon ein, and microphone is, I believe, if I'm not wrong, it is das. That's why mein Mikrofon ein. Then you have I open the PowerPoint file. Again, you know how to say to open. If how do you say file? It's Datei, and it is die Datei. Okay, so ich öffne die PowerPoint Datei. Again, einschalten is opposite of ausschalten. Then let's say you have the verb sperren. Just giving one more example. Sperren and sperren. If you don't know what this means, I can give you an example. Every month you must be getting a account statement from your bank, right? And that account statement, if you just forward me the email, the PDF I will not be able to open, right? Why? Because it needs a password. That means it is locked. Okay, I will have to unlock it with your birth date, right? So sperren is to lock, entsperren is to unlock. What I'm trying to say is that I just chose this random sperren and entsperren is that whenever you learn one verb and it is obvious to you that there has to be an opposite of this word or verb, please go and find that out on leo.org. Okay, let's say, how do I say I start the PowerPoint presentation? Again, you know how to say start. It's starten. For it will be starter. How do you say presentation? You just have to say it like a German. You'll have to say it like Präsentation. And PowerPoint, you can just say PowerPoint. So and it is anything which ends with ion. You can almost sure that it is the feminine. Okay. Again, you can say ich starte die PowerPoint Präsentation, but it's obvious what I mean by this. Again, it's very common, at least in my professional circle, we don't say Präsentation. At least in a German speaking community, they say Präsi. Again, don't do this in exam. Don't write ich starte die Präsi. Write the complete word, okay, with all the words, alphabets. Just telling you, in real life, you should try to see, are there short forms being used, and use them. Okay, I share my screen. So after I start the presentation, you all join. Not you join, but before you join, I already shared the screen because I'm joined before you guys. So how do you say share? So again, if I just tell you, you can just make a German verb out of this share. So you just have to make the ending sound like n. So it will be sharen, but we will look at it that later. So I think another verb is that teilen. So I think most of you are, most of you guys are working full time in Germany and you are taking part in meetings. And if the system happens to be in German language, you would have done this before, just that you don't remember. So it is, so freigeben, maybe in some apps they call it freigeben. It can also be, so when you say freigeben, frei is separable and geben is the other part of the verb, right? So it's the verb is freigeben. Frei is prefix, separable, it is pushed to the last position just before full stop. Geben conjugated for ish is frei. Now, so yes, so ich gebe Bildschirm is meinen. Okay, it's their Bildschirm, so masculine, so meinen. Again, you can use sharen as well. So it will be sharer for ish, or you can use teilen as well. Okay, teilen, T-E-I-L-E-N. I get notifications. So after I share the screen at exactly 5:28 or 5:29, most of you guys start joining the sessions, and I get the notification that you want to join, right? Someone wants to join. So how do I say to get? So there are different ways to say it. It's bekommen, erhalten, kriegen as well. Kriegen, okay, don't use it professionally. It's not used in professional circles. Okay, maybe if you guys are close in the company, you will use, but normally I don't think it is used. So let's go with erhalten. Erhalten for ich is ich erhalte. You can say notifications as it is, or you can say Benachrichtigungen, plural. Okay, so you can say bekommen as well. So it will be ich bekomme or ich kriege. The participants want to join the meeting. Again, it's not that difficult. So participants, if you know how to say participants, then if you know how to say to want to, here be careful, you will have to use modal verb wollen. And to join, there are different ways to say to join, but I will go with teilnehmen. You can also use betreten, but I think I will go with teilnehmen, because with teilnehmen, teil is separable, that is the separable prefix. But here you will not have to separate the prefix because the verb will be at the last position along with the prefix in infinitive form, right? So the verb is at the last position along with the prefix in infinitive form just before the full stop. It's teilnehmen. uh, to say to want to, you can say wollen or möchten, okay? And the teilnehmer is plural, so it is möchten or wollen. Let's say if it was, let's say, let's say if I want to say Patrick wants to join the meeting, so it will be Patrick möchte or Patrick will an der Besprechung teilnehmen. Again, here I am using the preposition an. So please, when you learn the verb teilnehmen, learn it like this: an etwas Dativ teilnehmen, okay? An etwas Dativ teilnehmen. Dative, so die Besprechung becomes der Besprechung. Again, you can use wollen. Können, I don't think it's appropriate over here. I don't think it's a mistake. So it can be möchten or wollen. Then I click on the allow button because you guys want to join the meeting, so I have to allow you. So how do I say click on? Again, klicken auf, right? So klicken auf die Schaltfläche zulassen. Again, I don't think you will ever have to say like this sentence, but just telling you how you can just learn verb and think how many different ways you can use the same verb. Okay, so I don't know when you will have to say. You can just say Knopf as well. That's also a word for button, but I go with Schaltfläche. Okay, because Schaltfläche is something that is on a screen. Button is something that you can physically touch, as per my understanding. Zulassen is the allow button. So just notice. So here Zulassen is within double quotes, but in English the double quotes, the both ones, like the starting and the ending ones, they both are at the top. But in German, the starting one is at the bottom and the ending one is at the top. Okay, so these are called as Anführungszeichen. Just remember this whenever you are writing, when you are writing an email. Again, it's not a big deal, okay, but just telling you, it's good that you know where the how to write double quotes in German. Okay, so that is Anführungs. Just wanted to tell you that you know that. And again, whenever the double quotes are at the end of a sentence, I mean there is a punctuation following. That punctuation will be within the ending double quote, right? So the full stop, if there was a comma over here, it would have been within the double quotes, or question mark within the double quote. Okay, this is grammar. I think you should know this from English as well, or any other language, I believe. Then let's look at the next sentence. So I ask them. Again, after you guys join, before I start the session, I ask. Okay, what do I ask? We'll realize later, but I ask them. How do I say I ask them? So ich frage sie, right? Ich frage sie. So sie, I don't think it should be sie, it should be ihnen. Okay, it's not correct. It should be ihnen because sie accusative is ihnen, and so it should not be sie. Okay, ich frage ihnen. Can you see my screen? So I ask you guys, can you see my screen? How do I say can you? So can you know, you will have to use können. See, it will be sehen. Sehen will be at the last position before question mark. Screen, you already know, Bildschirm. And it will be der, because it is masculine, it will be meinen Bildschirm, right? Because accusative. So können Sie meinen Bildschirm sehen? If you are not sure like why können is at the first position, why Sie is at the first position, you should know this is grammar. Okay, we covered all of this later, but just want to tell you, in a yes or no kind, this is a yes or no kind of question, right? So it's not W, it's yes or no. In a yes or no kind of question, the conjugated verb, because können, okay, it doesn't look like conjugated because you are using sie, but let's say if I say du, then it will be kannst du, right? Kannst du meinen Bildschirm sehen? Because the conjugated verb will be at the first position, and just after the verb, conjugated verb, you will have the subject, and at the last position you will have the other verb in infinitive form. In between you can have other things. Okay, so let's say if I say can you see, right, then the statement will be können Sie sehen or kannst du sehen. This my screen is the other part, that is the object. You can have other things as well over there, maybe adjective, but I hope you get the idea. So yes or no kind of question, the conjugated verb at the first position, then the subject following the conjugated verb, and if you have other verb, it will be at the last position before the question mark. Most of you guys, I mean, you guys can see the screen, so you say yes, so they answer yes. Sie antworten ja. Then I say, can you hear me? Again, if you know how to say can you see me, you can say how to say. Just need to know how to say hear, right? It's hören. So können Sie hören? If I just want to say can you hear, it will be können Sie hören me. So ich in accusative is mich, right? Können Sie mich hören? If I want to say can you hear her, it would be können Sie sie hören. If I want to say can you hear them, it will be können Sie ihnen hören. Okay, they answer no. I mean, you can also say no or yes, but normally you guys say yes. So Sie antworten nein. I greet the participants. So ich begrüße die Teilnehmer. Now the question is, why do I not say grüßen? Because I grüßen is also to greet, right? So when to use grüßen, when to use begrüßen. Again, the meaning literally is more or less the same. It means to greet, but you use grüßen when it is like, you are meeting someone in person. It's a one-on-one meeting, and it's not something where the conversation is going to last for a longer period of time, for example, or other way around. So I can give you one example where you should use begrüßen. Whenever you are the speaker at an event, okay, whenever you are the speaker at an event, let's say I hope most of you do well in your career, or are doing well in your career, and you have to host the regional meeting of your company, right? You are at the stage, or let's say you are at the like you are the one who has to start the event, right? So where you go, you will say, I welcome you all, right? So there you should not say ich grüße euch alle. You should say ich begrüße euch alle. Okay? So I hope you know. So whenever you want to say I welcome you guys, then you should use begrüßen. When it's just like I greet you, I see you, just like let's say if you walking down your building, or like walking uh, in your office and you see someone, you can say ich grüß dich, right? You can say ich grüß dich, I greet you. Again, you don't have to say, you can just say hello as well, but just telling you when to use begrüßen and when to use grüßen. I go through the agenda. So how do I say go through? So it is durchgehen. Durch is separable. Agenda, the word is the same in German, but pronunciation is different. So it is agenda, and it is die Agenda. So ich gehe die Agenda durch. I summarize. How do I say I summarize? It's very simple. The verb is zusammenfassen, and the zusammen is separable. So super separable prefix is at the last position, and the fassen for ich is ich fasse. Fasse. What they have learned. So at the end, I summarize what you guys have learned. So was haben Sie gelernt? Right? Again, this is participle zwei, right? So grammar. So at the first position you have the W word. At the second position you have the helping verb. So it can be haben or sein. Conjugated for what comes after, that is the subject. If I want to say what have you learned, then it would be was hast du gelernt or was haben Sie gelernt, right? So, and at the last position, just before the question mark, you have the actual verb in participle zwei. So lernen participle zwei is gelernt. I tell them, ich